Hello and welcome back. It's Mary with Happy Pine Soap. I am so excited to share today's video because I was recently featured by Mad Micas in their Tuesday Spark newsletter, which honestly made my entire week. Huge thank you to the amazing team at Mad Micas for the feature and for always supporting makers like me. I truly adore their micas. The colors are always so vibrant and reliable. They bring all of the artistry and my designs to life. And so being highlighted by this amazing company really just means so much to me. Thank you again, Mad Micas, for all your love and support. And I will continue to utilize your amazing colors in all of my designs because you guys are my absolute favorite. I also wanted to give a quick update on last week's soap. This is that gorgeous spin swirl that we did with that beautiful recipe that was fluid for well over 45 minutes. If you guys are interested in that recipe and you haven't seen this video yet, I'll link it below in the comments. But as you can see, this spin swirl is nice and beveled now. All the bars look beautiful and pristine. There's no soda ash, which I'm very pleased with, and they're just so unbelievably stunning. And again, Mad Micas for the win. These were all gorgeous neutrals and browns, that deep, rich kind of mahogany brown color as well. All of these are Mad Micas and were listed in last week's tutorial and video, which again will be linked below. So feel free to check that video out if you guys are looking for a fluid recipe for beautiful swirls and complex designs. This one is just amazing and lasts a very long time in terms of fluidity. I'm using it today, but we're using a different fragrance. And so the colors we'll be using today, you can see here, I have them measured out at a ½ teaspoon of mica. Today's design will feature Pool Party, Tahitian Teal. We also have Snake Island, as well as Steelworks. Each color is going to have about 10 ounces of soap batter, so I used a little bit over 1/2 teaspoon of mica, and then 1/2 tablespoon of lightweight oil to blend the mica with. And I like to use this mini blender shown here, which makes quick work of blending them, and they all obtain a beautiful smooth consistency this way. And so if you are looking for a perfect way to blend your micas, this is what I highly recommend. Our fragrance will be Frosted Fir from Brambleberry, one of my favorite fragrances, and I blended it with about 3 tablespoons of kaolin clay as well, and we'll be using a 40-ounce mold today. Here is a quick screenshot of today's recipe that you are welcome to utilize. The only difference between this week's recipe and last week's is a smaller batch size. So this is a 40-ounce batch, as well as a bit of a steeper water discount at 50% lye solution. As always, I start with the hard oils first, and I get them melted before adding the soft oils. I also add the fragrance in and blended it with a stick blender so that the basically all that kaolin clay and the fragrance is nicely blended, so there's no white lumps or bumps in the finished soap. So that's what you see me doing here. And then I waited for my lye solution and my oils to come down in temperature before adding the lye solution. I think they were both around 85 degrees Fahrenheit. I stick blended this for about 10 seconds total. I did notice that this batch was thicker than last week's, so you have to move a bit quicker if you're going to do this exact recipe with this exact fragrance. My guess is this fragrance moves just a bit faster than the one I used last week, and of course that steeper water discount also probably made it speed up a little bit, but it was still manageable. And so what you see me doing here is measuring about 10 ounces of soap batter. And that is what I used for each one of those beautiful colors that you will see later on. So first go ahead and measure 4 separate pour containers with 10 ounces. And then you can add your micas and stir them by hand to combine the colors into a nice smooth consistency, which you see me showing you here. And as you see, we're about at medium trace, so it was moving faster than last week's. For the beautiful ocean waves, You can achieve this with the one pot wonder technique, and this is essentially a layering of colors. I started with the darkest color first and did a gradual transition from the darkest to the lightest color. And I counted for about, I think about 3 seconds each. And I just kept pouring them in alternating fashion here until I ran out of soap batter. And then I will show you what I did next in just a second. This beautiful technique is very easy. You will simply take your main pour container, and as you see me quickly moving it left and right while tipping our mold, and then I will slowly over time put the mold flat on the counter as the batter gets closer to the top. And by moving quickly, you allow those layers to be placed in a beautiful thin fashion that mimics those gorgeous ocean waves. And the batter was so thick that I ended up having to tap it down quite a bit. And I also had to use a spatula to get the remnants of the soap batter out from the containers as well. And I was a little bit worried that would mess the design up a little bit. But as you see, I gave you a hint of what it looked like earlier on in the video. It is phenomenally gorgeous. So this did not mess up the design at all. If the batter had remained a little bit thinner, I would have simply continued that one pot wonder, that left and right technique all the way to, basically the end of the soap batter. But in this case, I had enough to do a gorgeous swirl on top. So you'll see me demonstrate a beautiful technique for a gorgeous swirled soap top here. And you just want to make sure that you do not insert whatever you're using, whether it's a dowel or a thin stick. Just don't insert it very far down into the soap because you'll ruin those beautiful ocean waves. You really only need to stir maybe the top 1/8 inch of the soap to get a beautiful swirled effect. So I just wanted to make note of that as well. And then once I got this all put together and the top swirled, I went ahead and oven processed it. And for those that do not know about oven processing, it is a wonderful way to make your soap harden a lot faster. The colors are more vibrant. It basically saponifies the soap quicker. So not only are you ready to cut it quicker, but it definitely speeds up just the cure time a little bit as well. So it's one of my favorite things to do just because the soap comes out of the mold a lot quicker and that vibrancy, and also your soap is going through a complete and full gel phase as well. After quite a bit of plopping, I had all the remnants of the soap in the mold, and I made sure to tap it down to try to remove any air bubbles. And now you see the beautiful swirl being demonstrated. It's pretty simple. I just went up and down one direction, and then I went the opposite direction. So it is just a very elegant, simple way and looks fabulous in the finished soap as well. I almost forgot to mention, if you want to oven process your soap, you will want to get your oven heated to the lowest temperature possible. On my oven, that's 170 degrees Fahrenheit. Make sure you turn your oven off, pop your soap in. You can leave your oven light on as well to retain the heat. And I went ahead and left my soap in the oven that's turned off for about 4 to 5 hours, and then I let it sit on the counter to cool for another hour, and then it was ready to cut. This soap is ready to cut in about 6 hours, and as you see, this is what it looks like after being oven processed. The green is definitely more vibrant, and I went ahead and used my multi-bar cutter, and you'll get to see how gorgeous each bar was as I show them to you one by one. This was the end of the bar. And I was just so excited by how these turned out. They're just even prettier than I thought. They look like a landscape, actually, with the water in the foreground and maybe mountains or some type of scenery in the background, or maybe just some bigger waves in the background. But I really thought it looked like a landscape. They're just absolutely gorgeous. I love these colors. These particular colors that I decided to use work so well together. It reminds me of like a moody, overcast, stormy kind of oceanic vibe here. So that's why I named this beautiful masterpiece Stormy Seas. And so, yeah, just absolutely gorgeous. I am so in love with these colors and the way the One Pot Wonder turned out. It is really one of my favorite techniques to use. They were hard enough to bevel at this point as well, so I used my vegetable peeler. I have a really nice sharp one that I got from IKEA. I prefer this method to any of the more fancy equipment that you might see for beveling, just because the surfaces of the soap don't get marred or ruined while you're beveling them, and it only takes off just the tiniest amount, as you see, and cleans them up so well where they all look really professional and polished. And then here you go. Here is the finished soap, all beveled and done. I put several of them together to really get that ocean wave going. They're just so beautiful. I'm so happy with them. I really hope you enjoyed this tutorial. Please drop me a comment if you did below. I love reading and seeing your comments. Don't forget to like and subscribe. That helps my very small channel grow. I appreciate all of you so very, very much, and I look forward to seeing you all in the next soapy tutorial. Take care, everyone. Have a fabulous weekend.